Hey, and welcome back to another season of Love Restore. I am your favorite host, Marshaun Olaniyan. You are listening to KCCR Brownstone Cityscapes. Thank you so much for coming back to another season. Listen, this season is going to be super juicy, y'all. We are talking about, for the very first 6 episodes, this one included, we are talking about the top 5 silent saboteurs of your self-awareness. Now, why is this important? This is important because if you lack self-awareness, then you trying to show up in your relationships in a way that is absolutely going to hinder you versus help you, right? So when you really hone in on your own self-awareness, what is actually going to do for you is to help you to regulate your emotional state, which I know a lot of people struggling out there with their emotional state in all of their relationships. Is also going to help you to improve your decision making skills, and of course to increase your self-awareness. So before we jump into it, today we are going to be specifically talking about self-reflection over these next 30 minutes. So this is one of the top 5 silent saboteurs of your self-awareness, which is self-reflection. Now, before we go any further, let's talk about why I decided to start Love Restore, because this is very near and dear to my heart, because I, like so many of you out there, struggled with self-esteem issues. I struggled with self-confidence issues. I struggled with speaking soft and lovingly and kindly to myself. I struggled with accepting who I am, meaning accepting my skin, accepting the fact that I can't change it. I mean, I guess I could bleach it, but I'm not doing that. Accepting the fact that my path was my path, accepting the fact that I got a divorce. And a lot of that had to do with me not having the correct information. I did not know how to navigate loving relationships. Even though I saw them, the information wasn't strategically passed on to me so I would be able to choose a partner that was right for me the first time around. And so because of that, because I struggled for decades trying to figure out all of these things on how to be a better dater, on how to love myself, on how to become more self-aware, as the topic that we're talking about, and just really honing in on who Marshaun is. If I, through my experiences, through my studies, through my data, through my dating experiences, and even marriage, if I could come here and help you not to struggle the same way that I did, then I have fulfilled my God-given purpose. Because I really believe that the things that we pass down to our children, our children's children, our children's children's children, will be the things that make the difference for generations to come. And so the things that I experienced, I'm really prayerfully trying to instill these things into my daughter so she doesn't have to experience the exact same things that I did, to feel like she is worth less, like I felt, to feel like she's not worthy of love. She's not worthy to give it, let alone to receive it. I want her to have the correct tools, the correct information, the correct strategies. So I'm already starting to work on her and her own self-awareness. And so if I can help you in that way, then again, I fulfilled my God-given purpose. So now let's jump into self-reflection. First of all, we're going to talk about what self-reflection is, why we avoid self-reflection, the consequences of avoiding self-reflection, and how self-reflection increases self-awareness. And then finally, I'm going to give you some tools, some strategies to overcome the barriers, right, of self-reflection. So the first thing, let's discuss what self-reflection is. It is simply understanding one's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. It is also assessing past experiences and their impact on your present life, how you're showing up currently. And then finally, it is recognizing the patterns and the triggers. So that is what self-reflection is. Now let's talk about Why we avoid self reflection? Why do we avoid it? Why, when it's time for the house or your apartment, wherever, to be quiet? And have you ever noticed? Let me just side note already. Have you ever noticed that the times that it is time for you to self reflect or to process, as I say, it's usually when it starts to get quiet. It's usually when nobody else is around. It's usually when you can hear your own thoughts. It is usually when it's the darkest. And it seems like the enemy is now working on your psyche and trying to get you to believe things or even do things that you would normally do when there's so much chaos and noise during the day. That's just something to think about. This self reflecting moments that come about are so powerful for you to see how you're showing up. And as I like to tell my clients, you are your own problem. But guess what? You are also your solution. And so when we accept that we are the problem based off of the information that is coming to us, based off of the things that our spouses or exes have shared with us, the things that they didn't like that they saw in us, if you really just hone in on what they're saying without judgment in that moment and just say, you know what? I can see how what he said is true about me. Now, that's you being your problem. Now, the other side of that is how can you become your solution? So I specifically did this exercise, not in this manner, but I specifically did this exercise. So as the data I was talking about, I collected, I went to several of my exes, and all of them were not ex relationships. They could have been situationships, dating situations. Some were relationships. But the point of it all is we did not get to the next level. The next level could have been the title. It could have been, engagement, whatever level it is. I spoke with several of my exes, and I asked them, hey, how come we didn't get to the next level? And they told me why. And I took that data and I was like, you know what? Okay. I could see why he said that. He's right. I do that. Okay. And so now that I was my problem. That was my problem. And then I was like, well, how can I become my own solution? And so what I did is I took the information that they gave me, each one of the things that they mentioned, I started to work on them. I started to show up differently when it came time. So the one that I can think of the most is one of the guys was telling me that he didn't want to move forward with a relationship with me because he didn't like my response. And it was more like a reaction, but he didn't like my response when he would tell me no to whatever it was that we were talking about, hanging out or him going X, Y, and Z, whatever, it doesn't matter. And so he didn't like the way that I handled no. And so, me being my own solution, I was like, well, okay, so the next time I hear no, I have to figure out how I'm going to handle hearing no. And hearing no in this instance was with the guy that I was dating, but this could be with your friends, your family, this could be with anybody. Because literally, how we show up in one area is how we show up with just about everybody. If you've been around your friends long enough, they have seen the ugly sides of you, just like your spouse or exes have seen the ugly side of you. So think about those things that they have brought to your attention and think about how you can become your own solution now. So that is you raising your level of self awareness by reflecting on the things that was mentioned to you that are not so great about you. And that's okay because all of us have not so great parts about us that we can actually work on. So now let me jump back into why do we avoid self-reflection? We avoid it because we have fear of confronting painful truths. Again, those thoughts, those things that your friends, that your significant others, that your exes have been telling you, have been expressing, maybe not in the best manner, but they have been expressing this to you. You just keep pushing them off to the side. But you have to think, if multiple people keep telling you the same thing over and over again, it can't just be everybody's imagination. You have to be doing the thing that they keep mentioning to you. Now, if there's one offs, they're saying one person said this, one person said that, but not everybody's saying the same thing. We all get one off moments. But I am talking about the moments that everybody keeps telling you about. Those are the things that you need to be better in, that you need to raise your level of self awareness in. So we have a fear of confronting those painful truths. Another thing is that vulnerability is discomforting. We don't really like to be vulnerable. We don't like to have to call that friend and say, you know what? That's my bad. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have did that. I shouldn't have said that. Vulnerability is discomforting, but it is a must to get to your next level. It is a must to show your maturity. It is. It absolutely is. Another reason why we avoid self reflection is our lack of time or prioritization to reflect, to get quiet, to hear that small, still voice. When I say that, I'm talking about God, because there are messages being sent to each one of us. But the people that can hear it are the people that get still, the people that get quiet and silent, the people that welcome the information and not run away from it. And so if you find yourself always doing something, you're always busy, 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 busy because you don't want to sit with yourself and figure out your areas of weakness so you can strengthen them. This is for you. This is for you. Like, we going hard in the paint this season because this is a piece that if you get this together, your life will change just by getting this together. Instead of the pointing the finger at everybody else, your exes, what about you? What you do? How can you become better? Because when you become better, you start to attract better because we attract where we're at. And so if you find yourself having a lot of drama in your life, trust me, you like drama. Drama is around you for a reason. You're a part of it. If you find yourself always in arguments, people around you, you're in arguments with them as well. So you have to raise your level of awareness by confronting the painful truths, by being vulnerable, by prioritizing the things that you want to become better in. Another reason that we avoid coming face to face and reflecting is because of the cultural norms. We're just scared of what the culture is going to say or what society is going to say about us or what they think about the things that we're doing. And the truth of the matter is, big picture, nobody cares about you as much as you believe that they care about you. You care about you. And there's a term for that when we, as the person that's thinking that everybody is looking at us, everybody's thinking about us, there's a term for that. I cannot think of the term right now, but the point of it is that it's not true. It's all in your head because you are your most important person, just like I am my most important person. And because we are our most important person to us, we believe that everybody else sees us that way as well. When in fact they don't, because the other person, including your ex, including your significant other, they believe that they are the most important person in their own life. So, as much as we believe that everybody, all eyes on us, usually not true. Most people are dealing with their own stuff. So, the consequences for avoiding self reflection, there is a stagnation in your personal growth. And you can absolutely see this. Even if you can't see it in yourself, you can see it in some of the people that you are around, where when you talk to them, they always talk about the past. They don't have any growth opportunities or growth moments or new stories or new experiences to share with you. Everything is about the past and the person that they used to be in the past and the things that they used to do in the past and the wins that they used to make. So there's a stagnation in their personal growth. Another thing is that they, maybe you, repeat unhealthy patterns in your relationships. Listen, just like I said before, if somebody, your exes, friends, family, keeps pointing out to you that you do this thing, trust me, you do this thing because you are the only common denominator in all of those friendships and all of those relationships. You're the only common denominator. And if everybody is telling you the same thing about you, it is true. So now it comes down to you accepting your truth and becoming your solution, because you get to create the life that you want to create. You get to create the person in the mirror that you want the world to see. So if you have a lot of drama around you, it's up to you to change your circle. It's up to you to become aware of how you are showing up when this drama comes to you. Because when you start to grow, you don't have time for drama. When you have goals and dreams and aspirations, you don't have time for drama. You run away from drama, right? Another thing is miscommunication and misunderstandings. We all know that the top relationships have really great communication. And I'm not just talking about romantic. Think about the relationships that you gravitate toward, the people that you gravitate toward in your life. They make you feel good, they affirm you, they are a cheerleader for you, and vice versa. And there's other things as well. And they communicate really well with you. You understand him or her, and he or she understands you just the same. The final the final consequence that comes to mind is your um, your emotions are suppressed, which leads to stress and anxiety. And we don't need any more stress and anxiety inducing things around us. So, by taking the time to just reflect, it's going to help you be a better communicator. Your personal growth is going to go to the next level. You'll stop repeating those unhealthy behaviors. You have to be able to sit still and reflect on you, not constantly pointing the finger at the other person and the things that they were doing wrong and the things that you did not receive, etc. What about you? What did you stop doing? What did you stop giving? How did you stop serving? Was it all about you and not in a good way? And so the next thing is, how does self-reflection increase our self-awareness, right? And so one of the things is that it helps us to understand cultural and societal influences over our life, like the historic and systemic challenges that we face, right? Or its impact on identity. Another thing is that recognizing and addressing internalized biases and stereotypes. It helps you to embrace and celebrate your unique strengths and your resilience. It enhances your emotional intelligence, or EQ, and your empathy. And then finally, the empowerment through self knowledge and authenticity. We hear that word all the time, but it really does make a difference. You showing up as your authentic self, not caring what the people around you think about you, on a larger scale, what they think about you, because you like you actually love you adore you can be in the room by yourself and not feel like you're alone because you're secure with who you are, where you're at in your life. So the last part of this is really understanding what can you do in order to raise your level of self awareness via self reflection. So one of the ways to do that is to create a supportive environment. And a lot of us need to take a page out of this book and creating a supportive environment, because sometimes we have the tendency to not have a supportive environment and we believe that we do, but a lot of times the people in our life can be frenemies. Not okay. But that's about you recognizing and understanding the thing that you deserve, your worth, the understanding of all of these things that wrap together, like creating safe spaces for yourself so you can be vulnerable with the people in your life, getting the encouragement from your trusted friends or therapist or coach, whomever, just somebody that you trust, where you can open up and be that vulnerable person that all of us need to be at times. You can develop self reflection practices such as journaling, right? I know you heard about journaling before. It could be mindfulness and meditation. It could be regular self check ins. It could be anything that's allowing your stress and anxiety to dissipate. I have a client right now who's actually, journaling is not her thing, but what she does find where she can release and relax and not think about all of the things that life throws her way is coloring. And coloring has a lot of benefits, including but not limited to mental, emotional, and physical health. Look it up. Look it up. Those that color, anxiety reduced because they're not thinking about anything, or for the most part, they're thinking about what's the next color, how beautiful they want their painting or portrait or picture to be. So if journaling is not your thing, find out what your thing is so you can slow things down and figure out what helps you to reflect. Because what works for one person may not work for you, and that is okay. We're not cookie cutters. We're not in a cookie cutter world. So design your life for you, the way it's going to work out for you. The other thing is making sure that you address those fears and your discomfort. So, like gradually exposing yourself to those uncomfortable emotions or seeking professional help. That's like one of my top things that I talk about. We have to be open and ready to receive the guidance, the support from those that already understand what you're going through. Because that's the thing. The thing that you are experiencing or have experienced, someone has been there and done that before. And so you don't have to be alone in it. The final thing that I want to throw in here is self reflection can help you build a solid foundation before you get into a romantic relationship by helping you to identify your personal values and goals, understanding your past relationship patterns. We talked about patterns before, right? Clarifying your emotional needs and your boundaries. Boundaries is big because a lot of people get stuck in not creating and enforcing those boundaries, and they get bit in the butt later on. And I don't want that to be you, right? Another thing is that it helps to build your self confidence and self love for yourself. Now, shameless plug right here because we're almost getting ready to wrap up these 30 minutes, but I definitely want to invite you to join me, specifically if you are a Black woman that is struggling with self confidence, self esteem, and self love. I have created a 5-week challenge just for that, where we come together and we actually talk about what is needed. So, the actual tool, the actual skill that you need to start to implement in order to raise your level of self confidence, the actual skill that's needed to raise your level of self esteem, the actual skill that is needed for you to speak lovingly and kindly to yourself. And if you're lacking in those skills, then sis, it is time for you to look for the link down below and join the waitlist for my next 3S challenge. That's what it's called. It's called the 3S challenge. It happens every so often. And once you click the button, get on the wait list, what I will do is I will reach out to you when the next one begins and see if it works out for you to join that particular class, because I keep getting nothing but great reviews on it. And I want you to have the tools, the tips, the strategies that the other ladies have walked away with, feeling very empowered and ready to take on the world. And of course, this is a jump starter course, so you're not going to get everything figured out in 5 weeks, but you will have a better, clearer picture of who you are and what you want out of your life just by being a part of the 3S challenge. So I highly encourage you to look for the link down below and click for you to be a part of the waiting list. Finally, self reflection will help you to maintain that romantic relationship that you either are a part of or want to be a part of, by helping you with the ongoing communication that happens with your partner. It will help you to think about the regular check-ins that need to happen and the mutual reflections within the relationship. It'll also help you to address those conflicts constructively. Constructively is the ideal term. And then it'll also help you to grow together through shared and individual self improvement. I thank you for being here, for taking the time out of your day, out of your week, to be with me for these 30 minutes to talk about the first part of the top 5 saboteurs of your self awareness. Today, we just discussed self reflection. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys, and there's nothing that you can do about it. I'm your host, Marshaun Olaniyan, and this is Love Restored. And you are listening to KCCR Brownstone Cityscapes Radio. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next week. Or you can listen